Okay, guys, welcome back. My name is Professor Bach, and welcome to the new class for our semester, which is Elect and 13, and this 23W stands for 2023 winter term, and the class is called Network Cabling. Okay, so you got two professors this term. Mr. Habinski is going to take care of lab sections 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. No, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I'm going to take care of sections 1 and 2 for the labs, and I'll be teaching you the theory for this course as well. I just want to give you some heads up before our first lecture class. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with the main class portal. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And let's just take care of some of the announcements if you haven't seen them yet. All right, so important, very important. First 2 weeks, there will be no in-class labs for the first 2 weeks, and I'll explain that thing very soon. So which is week 1 from January 3rd to January 7th, and week 2, January 9th to January 13th. There will be no in-class labs, however, you will be doing something. All right. Now, our first theory class will be on Thursday, January 5th at 11 a.m. and it is going to be for sections 1, 3, and 5. And Friday at 10 a.m. for sections 2, 4, and 6, and these are going to be online classes. Right? And I will post the links here at our class portal. Now I understand that most of us are from last term, but we also welcome some new students as well. So we're going to go over certain details that have to do with our class. Now, I just also put a note here. Sections have changed since last term. So if you were in certain sections, section 1, 2 through 6, last term, it doesn't mean you're going to be in the same section. So I will show you where to find your section as well in this little short video. Okay. So also, here's a welcome note. You can read that later if you want. Updated course plan. I'll show you where this one lives, and I'll show you how to find your section. And here is in the announcements our YouTube playlist, which is going to be populating as we go along. All right, so let's take care of a couple of first things here. Let's look at the theory, our theory schedule here, and it is somewhere here. There we go, and I'm gonna pull it up right there. So this is our schedule. It doesn't have the labs. I just want to show you when we have our theory classes, and the labs are going to be on a different screen. Right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 slots for the theory class. And notice that I have listed the sections 1, 3, and 5, and 1, 3, and 5. So that little A here and that little B here, you're going to have 2 hours with me every week. So sections 1, 3, and 5, the first part is going to be in person in room T1004, and the second hour that you're going to have with me during this week, you're going to have online uh, on Thursday, 11 till 12 p.m. or 11 a.m. till 12 p.m. All right, so that's for sections 1, 3, and 5. And then same thing is going to be, excuse me, for sections 2, 4, and 6. So our first class in person, we're going to have on Thursdays, and the second part will be on Fridays. All right, now this Thursday is going to be our first class for sections 1, 3, and 5. And this Friday is going to be our first lecture for sections 2, 4, and 6. This one here, this just for this week, which is Thursday, mm, January 5th. Okay, that class will not take place. All right, we're just going to have a little orientation, and we're going to start with the second week with the full steam. All right, so and this is just a preamble for before the sort of like orientation class that we're going to have this week. So sections 1, 3, and 5, first class on Thursday, January 5th. All right, and sections 2, 4, and 6 also online on Friday. So that's as far as the lectures for this week. We didn't have a chance to have that class during the January 3rd, which means we cannot have that one as well. All right, so we just want to be on the same page. Okay, so that's as far as the lectures, and also it is in the announcements here. See that? All right. Updated course plan. Let me show you where this one lives. See what happens if when you bring up the main class portal. This is what you're going to see with all this pretty picture and all. So if you go to content, I'm going to click on that right now. Click. And if you go to student items right here, click on that. And I'm just going to collapse that. And you're going to see, well, right now we have three entries: housekeeping, blank work orders, and labs. I'm going to explain things to you as we go along. So, but if you look at the housekeeping first, just click on that, enter that section, and here is the course plan. Because I'm not sure if you click later on, this course plan is going to be right here. I'm just going to click on that, and I'm not sure if it's updated. It's not updated yet, so the course plan is from last year, for the class last year. So in the meantime, I have uploaded that into your, let me just go back to square one, content, student items right here, and the it's going to look like this, housekeeping folder right here. So I'm going to click on that, and if you click on this file right here, you're going to open up the course plan. Okay, and this is our roadmap to success, kids. All the details about the course are listed here as far as scheduling and whatnot. All right, so let me go over that a little bit here. But I'm going to bring it up so it's on a bigger screen. Course plan. Here's our course plan. That's what it looks like. All right, so we're going to skip that. You can read that if you want. And all the dates. Midterm grades are going to be Friday, February 17th, and the final grades April 25th. Labs. We're going to have 9 labs. All right, so here's the first lab. Because it's a short week, we wouldn't I was not able to fit all the sections, so we're on the same page. So we have to learn this thing anyways. Excuse me. Excuse me. So here's the deliverables, and we are going to go over that during our first class on January 5th, and on Thursday, and on Friday with the other half of the class. Okay. So just because we don't have the in-person class doesn't mean you're not going to do anything. You're going to have to do the work on your own. We'll do it every year. Okay? So that and all the rest we're going to explain as we go along later. Here is the something that looks like little complicated, but I'll explain to you. Before I get to this screen right here, I'm going to pull up the sections breakout. So I'm going to go and start with the beginning of what the class portal looks like. Again, you go content, student items, and if you go to housekeeping, and here's another file that says sections breakout full list. All right, revision 1, because I have to change it. All right, so if you open that, you're going to see a bunch of entries. If you zoom in a little bit, and this way you can find out which section you belong to. So here is select 1013, section 1, A and B breakout. Section 2, A and B breakout. What do I mean by section 1, A and B breakout? We're going to have the sections split into half. All right. So, and you're going to participate in the labs every other week. So, one week is going to be all people that belong to section 1A, and the next week are going to be people that belong to the section 1B, and that goes with section 2 as well, and section 3, 4, 5, and 6. So here's a list of students for section 1. All right, and then you can just cross-reference that to the next column here, and you can tell whether you belong to section 1A or 1B, or 1A or 1B. I just did that division that way here. So you should be able to tell, no problem, which section you belong. First, you know your section 1, and then you're going to know whether you're section 1A or 1B. Okay, so that's as far as the section breakout, and the whole thing just looks like that. You should be able to find your name and find out which section you belong to. Okay, now where are we? There we go. That's not what I wanted. Here, there were the course plan we're looking at. Okay, so now here is the lab schedule. Labs, weeks. All right, you should be able to tell during which week you're going to do which lab. And over here, if you go down and you look at the theory schedule, you should be able to tell by date which week it is that we are in at any time during the course. All right, so here's week 1, January 3rd, January 7th. Well, this is Tuesday because it's a short week, so this is Friday. Week 2, January 9th, January 13th. This is Monday, this is Friday. So I just put the ranges of the weeks like that. Okay. So now let's see the labs here according to the subsections. All right, lab schedule according to the subsections. Lab 1, Lab 2 and 3, Lab 4 and 5. Notice that during certain lab sessions, we're going to perform 2 labs during those 2 hours. They are short enough and they are long enough that they fit perfectly within the time slot. Now, some of the labs are going to be longer, like for example, Lab 7. See that here? It's going to be only 1 during the 2 hours because it's a slightly longer lab. All right. So let's see weeks number 3 and 4. See, weeks number 3 and 4. So week number 3 starts with January 16th and ends with January 20th. Week 4 starts with January 23rd and ends with January 27th. And everyone is going to perform labs 2 and 3 during the 2-hour time slot that we're going to have assigned for each lab. So, week 3, January 16th and January 20th, and you will have your schedule on your cell phones provided by the college. So, if you look at this course plan, during week 3, January 16th to January 20th, just the students from sections A are going to do their labs. So sections 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, and 6A A are going to come over and do the labs. All the people from subsections B are going to not come and do the labs. All right. Now, next week, week number 4, which starts with January 23rd and on 27th, all the students from sections B are going to perform these two labs. All right, so it's going to be alternating weeks when it comes to doing the labs. Uh, Take a look at that, go over that, and once you analyze it the way I showed you, well, you should have no problem figuring this out. All right, as far as tools, let me take care of the tools. The tools that we're going to use, it's not going to be much. You already have the toolkits from last semester or last term, and that is going to be more than enough for us. Now, we're not going to use all the tools that we used from the previous term. You probably will with other subjects, but with this course, I'll just go over because I know we have some people that just joined us. So, as far as the basic screwdrivers, we will need Robertson, which is the square head. Let me just get the different pointer here. Robertson, which is the square head, and we're going to use the green Robertson and the red Robertson. I just put those check marks here for the tools that we're going to most likely use during our class. And that's all we need for the Robertson screwdrivers. So Robertson number 1, which is Robertson green, and Robertson number 2, which is the red Robertson, or sometimes people call it red Robbie. Okay, so that's as far as the Robertson screwdrivers. And Phillips. Phillips, we need 3 screwdrivers. Phillips number 1, Phillips number 2, Phillips number 3, and that's what Phillips screwdriver looks like. That's the head or the footprint of Phillips. It's like a star. Okay, so those 3 are going to be used in our class. Also, we are going to need some slotted screwdriver, and again, remember from last term, I made a point of not calling this a flat head screwdriver because this should be called a slotted screwdriver. Flat head is reserved for the type of screw head, That's what a flathead screw head looks like, and that's what a slotted screwdriver looks like. Okay, which is probably the oldest screwdriver in the world. Right, so they're classified by the size of the screwdriver's head. Okay, and most likely we're going to be used the size that is 3/16 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. That is basically the size of this of the width of the screwdriver's head. We are going to also need the side cutters or wire cutters. You are going to use the wire strippers. Tape measure, probably not, but it's always a good idea to have. For sure you're going to need the permanent marker because we're going to label some wires as we go along. Hammer, we are not going to use. The level, no, we're not going to use that. Alright, so that's far as the tools that we need for that. Now, previous term during our labs, we used to we needed the safety boots, we needed a hard hat, and safety glasses. Now, in this lab, which is going to be in room B1006, we are going to just need the safety glasses, and it's a must. We don't need a hard hat in that room, and we don't need safety boots in that room, which is B1006. Okay, so let's see what else I can tell you here. Alright, so we have seen the updated course plan where it lives. I have showed you how to find our section, how to find your section, and also here is going to be our YouTube playlist link. Let me see if I can open that. What do we have over there so far? Open in a new tab, and here is our YouTube playlist. Now, as far as the labs, you're going to need to watch this. So you're going to be busy during these 2 weeks. Instead of coming to class, I'm going to ask you to just familiarize yourself with something that's called deliverables. Deliverables is basically a documentation. We will go over that during our first lecture. It's a documentation that is always prepared with every job that you do, and with this type of jobs that are associated with what I'm what we're teaching you right here in this course, which is the network cabling. The deliverables are a big part of the job. Basically, the work is not done if the paperwork is not done. Uh, we're going to try to, or we are going to prepare you as much as we possibly can so you enter the workforce ready for that kind of stuff. All right, so enough said about that. Watch this video here. Then here is another video that says that talks about how to prepare the work orders, and the work orders are going to basically these are our lab sheets. In certain classes, you're going to have lab sheets that are associated with labs. We're going to have them as well. However, in our class right here, uh, we have made those lab sheets in the form of the work orders that look like, basically they look like the paperwork that you'll be filling out once you enter the workforce. Right? So here are the details on how to prepare the work order. Now, when it comes to preparing the deliverables, in this video I've shown you how to use the Photoshop and Microsoft Word. I understand that sometimes some of us are not equipped all the time with the Photoshop. However, if you talk to IT, and I'm going to try to find out exactly how to do this, and maybe I'm going to make another video for you to, because you should be able to get the Photoshop on your computer. If you don't, there's the homework lab that you can just enter and work on it. All right. Now, here's an additional video that I did showing how to convert files to PDF. Okay. Microsoft Word is pretty much almost a must unless you use platforms like Linux or Ubuntu or other platforms. Then there are some equivalent programs or software. But when it comes to submitting the work, submitting the labs, we're going to do it all online, and we're going to ask you to provide the paperwork in PDF form. The reason for that is that if you submit your work in format other than PDF, the FOL engine might not display the files properly, and some of the file formats, well, they might be unreadable altogether. So in order for us to mark and evaluate that work properly, we need to have those files in PDF format. And if your Microsoft Word does not have the option, because it's a form of a plugin, well, so to speak, and some of the Microsoft Word installations on your computers do have the capability of saving as PDF, and some of them don't. But if you save it as Microsoft Word file, then there's an online conversion. There's a bunch of them, and I tried few of those, and most of them let you convert one or two files, and then they want you to sign in and maybe pay money or whatnot. This one here that I'm showing you during this video, that's the best I found so far, and so far I was able to keep converting unlimited files into PDFs. And once you save those, this is what goes into the submission folder. Where is this submission folder? Where does this one live? Okay, so let's go to our class portal and how we are going to submit mm, the the labs. Let's start with something else first. Let's start from square one. So content, and you're going to see student items, and I'm going to collapse that folder. So you're going to see that there's going to be another folder that says lectures, and that's where I'm going to put the posted lecture notes. Okay, but so far we have housekeeping, blank work orders, and labs. Okay, so here is the labs folder. I'm going to click on that, and that is also going to keep populating as we go along. So far we have lab 1, and lab 1, if you click on that, you can download. There's all the instructions that you need of what you need to do step by step, written down, of what you need to do to perform lab 1. And lab 1 is to be done on your own, at home, or at school. All you need is your cell phone to take pictures, and you need the software. You need Microsoft Word, and you need either Photoshop, or you can use the snipping tool in order to get the pictures. But if you use the snipping tool, let me show you how the snipping tool works. So in order to have a proper final product when you use the snipping tool instead of Photoshop, because snipping tool is very limited in what it can do. So over here on the bottom left I have this thing blocked out, but I'm going to click on the search window and I'm going to type snipping tool. Here it is. Okay, and you can pin that to your taskbar, or you can click on that to open it. And once you click and open that file, this kind of a screen shows up. And what you do is you click on the new, and the whole screen kind of goes gray, and you can highlight anything that you want on the screen, and once you release the mouse, that's what shows up on, well, show that a little bit big on the screen. So you can edit and copy this image, or you can go file and save, and you're going to have a JPEG file saved. The only thing that to remember about this is that when you take a picture using your cell phone camera, I'm just going to close that, then you need to have the proper lighting. Your picture has to be pretty much perfect as far as the resolution and sharpness and whatnot, and the lighting has to be good, because in the snipping tool you don't have the possibility or the ability to edit the lighting, the contrast, and whatnot. So you should be able to you should take the picture pretty much the way it's going to be, and then you can in the Microsoft Word, instead of the processed images in Photoshop, you can place in Microsoft Word the images that you have saved using the snipping tool. All right, and how it is done is explained right here. So instead of using Photoshop to process the images, you're just going to take snapshots with snipping tool, and you can also put them in the Microsoft Word. But then again, you save it, and the final product has to be PDF. All right, so where is the submission folder? Submission folder. I'm going to go back to square one here as far as our class portal, and if you click evaluations, and if you click submissions, and this also going to populate with more labs to submit. Right now what I have open is lab 1 deliverables. It's called deliverables. So we're going to practice producing the deliverables, which is the documentation. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to be quite strict on how you prepare the deliverables, because once you enter the workforce, people who hire you and people who give you contracts on whatever basis, they are going to be extremely strict on how they want the deliverables done. Now, you're going to, in some companies have paper forms. Some companies will have cell phone apps to prepare the deliverables, and yes, they will instruct you on how exactly they want those deliverables to be prepared and submitted to them. So in this class, we're going to practice following the instructions exactly to the T as far as preparing the deliverables. So, well, once you get into a habit, because we humans are habitual creatures, once you get into the proper habit of doing things, then the rest, if you have to prepare, if you have to do the work, have to do the job, it's going to be, I won't say, I am not going to say effortless, but it's going to be so much easier for you than if you haven't developed the proper habits. So if you click on that, the deliverables, I'm going to pretend I'm going to submit. I'm clicking on that, and another screen opens. So I'm going to scroll down, and right away you're going to see the evaluation rubric. Read that thing. Okay? See what you're going to be evaluated on with each and every lab so you get the best mark possible. Okay, I'm just slowly scrolling it down. And then you can write me some notes or not. And here is the button that says add file. And if you click on that, there's going to be another screen that is going to let you submit the PDF file. Alright, so most of us already have done it with the assignment last term, but I'm just explaining that again, just as a refresher. Okay. So now, the last thing I'm going to show you is where the blank work orders live. Again, I'm going to go back to square one as far as our class portal, and again I'm going to go content, student items right here, and let me just collapse this whole thing. So you're going to see this housekeeping, blank work orders, labs, and lectures. I haven't set up those yet. Now, if you look at this one here, it says blank work orders, so click on that, and you have those blank work orders that you can download and you can print. And it's a good idea to have a bunch of those in your stash, bunch of those blank work orders, well, with you all the time, because when you enter the workforce, you are going to have a lot of them, just so you are not stuck without a work order when you have to do the job and you have to write what you have done and you have to get the customer's signature in order to, in order to get paid for the job. Because what's the point of doing the job if you're not going to get paid, unless you're a multi-millionaire and you're just doing it for the pleasure of things. All right, so there are two blank work orders. Most of the work orders are going to involve work order 1, and that is going to be our bread and butter for our work orders. Okay, and in that first video that's there on our already posted, there is a detailed explanation on how to fill this out. Right? And there is going to be a due date, and you don't fill this out. Everything has to be done by hand, and it has to be signed by a lab instructor. In the so-called real world, you're going to get the client to sign that. And that is extremely important, because you know what? If the signature is not there, that means the job is not billable, which means you don't get paid. And over here at school, you just don't get marked for it. You're just going to get 0. You could do the whole thing. You don't get the signature. The job is not done. Excuse me. All right. And over here is for us, this is filled by instructor. We're going to put the deliverables due. So due date on, well, after the due date, the work order is going to be considered as late submission, and marks are going to be deducted. Okay, so, but everything else you're going to fill out by hand, and I'm going to ask you, do not leave anything blank. Watch this whole thing like a hawk. Don't miss any of those fields. Don't leave it blank. If there is an information that, well, if any of those fields is asking you for the information that does not apply to what you have actually done, don't leave it blank. Just draw a line through it or put NA for not applicable, but don't leave it blank. All right, so this is the work order number 1 that is going to apply to all the labs except for one. And I'm going to go back, and here is, you see, work order number 2, coax. That's for the coaxial cable lab. There's one lab that is called a coaxial cable, and this is the work order that we need to print. And if you do not submit the right work order, then you're going to lose a lot of marks. So yeah, I'm a mean guy. There you go. All right, so that's pretty much it. As a reminder, yeah, our first class is going to be just like the announcement says, for sections 1, 3, and 5. It is Thursday, January 5th at 11 a.m. and it's going to be online. Link will be posted right here in the announcements section. And then for sections 2, 4, and 6, the lecture is going to be also online uh, at 10 o'clock a.m. January 6th, Friday. And that is going to put us on the same page. As a reminder, again, where is our, where's my schedule that I have? Yeah, there we go. You see, this is our regular kind of a week for just our class schedule. So we're going to have every half of the class is going to have 1 hour with me in person and 1 hour online. So that's sections 1, 3, and 5. Sections 1, 3, and 5. See that? Here's going to be the first part of the week, second part of the week. That's why I put A and B. And then sections 2, 4, and 6, 1 class in person, 1 class online. So it's going to be first part of the week, second part of the week. So everyone is going to get 2 hours with me. Are you happy? There you go. But this week only, Thursday, January 5th, this in-person class is not happening. So don't go to the room and look for us. Go and look for me. All right. From the second week on, yes, in person, online, in person, online. Okay. All right, guys. Well, you know where I live, or well, you know my email. And if you need anything clarified, by all means, send me an email. But we're going to go over some more details during this first class here and this class here. Okay. I look forward to working with you, and I'll see you when I see you. Thanks, guys.